Diablo 4 needs a huge win right now because Path of Exile's new league announcement just destroyed them.
All right, I'm going to give my first impression of Diablo 4's new in-game content called the Abattoir of Zir. Now, here's the very first thing I experienced in the Abattoir.
Okay.
We're kind of running behind on the time already. Holy shit, what the hell happened? So I thought to myself,
yeah, that's about right for Diablo.
Okay, I'm going to need more armor. So I went out and put Disobedience on my necklace, put total armor on literally everything, got more damage reduction, and thought, we got it this time.
Okay.
He's the hard one. Okay. God!
He escaped right into the fire. Okay, so, yeah. This is as much as you would expect, honestly, from Diablo 4 and Endgame, to a certain degree. Get one-shotted or one-shot things before they one-shot you. It is what it is.
Damn it! So then I said to myself, okay, DM, that is a skill-based issue. Stop running into the giant red glowing army things. Let's run it back. Yo,
True.
and King with the 10 gifted. Thank you. I see that. Hold on. No! No! God! Fuck! So then I told myself...
Okay, that's unironically a skill issue, by the way. I didn't see what happened the first time. I think that was stupid, but the second and third time, yeah, this is unironically, you shouldn't have done that. Like, get a grip, DM. Come on, please, skills.
The chat distracted me with the gifted subs. Copium, that is not my fault. Let's run it back. Okay, or not, because they did last time.
Yeah, this is what I'm constantly talking about in D4. The developers don't understand that things like this are stupid and should not be in the game. Man, is this saddening, huh?
Teleported on in one shot.
Yeah.
Okay, fortify on two.
This has been a problem in the D4 forever, pretty much. There are just some mobs that that can have the potential of stunlocking you. There are some mobs that literally one-shot you, and there's nothing you can do about it because their animations are just bad. And sometimes there are these assassin mobs. There's these stupid assassin mobs that run real fast and jump on you, or sometimes yes, teleport on you. And those assassin mobs do a lot of damage. And you know what happens when those assassin mobs have things that increase their already huge disproportional damage? Well, you get one-shotted. There's nothing you can do about it. There's literally no build that can just survive a one-shot from this, because this is Diablo 4, essentially.
So then I told myself that being teleported on instantly is cheesy as possible on minions, and it's not my fault. Let me just get more defenses and more armor somehow, and let's run it back again. So I actually ended up unlocking the glyph, and I thought, okay, well, let's level the glyph and do more of these. I fail them on the occasion, but I can defeat tier 1s. I can probably beat the tier 2, and I haven't pushed much farther than that because, guess what? It's 800 powder, and I'm losing these sigils, basically meaning that I can't do it anyway because I have no powder. I don't know about you guys. I'm not good enough to beat this thing without dying on the occasion, and dying on the occasion is enough to make it where I run out of powder. So my first...
Yeah. I mean, by the way, this is the point where you and, well, me and a lot of other people are like saying, oh, I actually need that powder? It turns out I have just been dropping sigils on the ground. I have not disenchanted a single sigil ever. I just dropped them on the ground. I don't know how much dust I have.
First impression is I'm not playing it because I don't have the powder, and I don't want to get the powder because getting powder is probably the most boring thing to do in the game already. I just don't think I'm going to do it. I'm going to be honest. I basically played for about 2 hours. And after 2 hours, I got to a point where I was farming tier 48 through 50s in order to get them to drop. Because if you do tier 100s, you get like one other tier 100, which is about 130 sigil powder. But if you do these 50s, then you're going to be getting like multiple, like 3 or 4 of these per one. So what I ended up doing was farming this powder, right? So that I can make...
Okay, so the thing is, doing that is ridiculously botting. And you know why doing that is ridiculously botting? Because you're doing the same place over and over again. I've said this so many times. Honestly, Diablo 4 has the same problem as Starfield. Because the locations, oh, you have 100 unique different dungeons. No, you don't. They all feel the same, okay? All of the ones in Fracture Peaks are all of the same as in the desert. It's just a different skin. You still have destroy the pile or, you know, free the prisoners or something like that. And it's stupid. It's boring. It's lame. The good thing about, by the way, the Abattoir of Zir is, well, it's a good and bad thing because the Diablo 3 style rifts are actually better than the dungeons in Diablo 4. But again, anything Diablo 3 is like a giant red flag for me, so I instantaneously dislike it. But the Abattoir of Zir working kind of like a rift is, well, it's better than the dungeons. Again, let me tell you that.
A blood forged sigil, and here you go. So I went and farmed these so that I can craft this here for the video. We crafted it. Now that's 800. Now I have to beat this. If I do not beat this tier or fail the new aspirational content, then what that forces me to do is to go back into a loop doing the ones I have already done, which why would I want to do another nightmare dungeon in order to attempt this again? Now I understand a lot of people will be sitting on 50,000 dust or something, and you will be telling yourself, damn, you should have just been grinding nightmare dungeons for like 3 months in preparation. Sure, that would be a technically correct answer in terms of how to have the powder for now. The problem is I don't think people want to do that. I think people aren't farming nightmare dungeons. I think a lot of people are sitting at level 15 glyphs, waiting for the new in-game content. They're going to log in, have a little bit of powder. They're going to use all of their powder, fell this tier 1 once or twice, have enough powder to beat tier 1, go to tier 2, fell it a couple more times, beat on the third one, go to tier 3, and then be out of powder. And then at that point, they're going to think, wait, I have to go back and do the normal nightmare dungeons.
Yes.
I don't want to do that. I'm going to play something else.
And by the way, keep in mind just one thing. He's crafting a tier 1 key, and that bad boy goes all the way up to level 25. Now, as much as I understand, currently, no one has done even level 20 also. This might actually change by the time this video is released. But as much as I understand, no one has even done tier 20 Abattoir. So, you know, it is what it is.
So my point is, I'm now in a tier 1. I am put into a situation where if I do not beat this, I have no powder. I only have 2 sigils, one tier 50 and one tier 100. And I also do not know what the modifiers or anything are going to be for this tier 1 Abattoir of Zir before I get into it. So I am put in a somewhat desperate situation of, okay, I absolutely have to beat this. I am panicking. If I do not beat this, I can no longer continue the in-game content.
By the way, the overpowered barbarian is ridiculous for everything but Abattoir, because you see, the overpower is overpowered when you one-shot things. But if you don't one-shot things, then, well, here in the Abattoir of Zir, you understand the fact that mobs are just literally gonna swarm you, and they hit hard, okay? They hit really, really hard. So that's not gonna be good. So, yeah, you're kind of in a really disadvantaged position here.
So here I am now, trying to beat it.
Yeah, that does not look good. Yeah, that does not look good. And again, he's really geared. He has good gear. He has way better gear than you or I. Again, most of us haven't even done the level 100 sigil. But, you know, still. Again. Well, admittedly, at the same time, I will say one thing. Abattoir of Zir is made for people like him, who play a lot of the game and have the best gear and stuff and whatnot. Abattoir of Zir is, by the developer's own statement, literally stated, hey, if you think you can go in there with any build and win, no. You pretty much need to abuse bugs to win this bad boy. It is what it is.
Alright, so now I died. I was waiting for my cooldown, so I was running away. I probably should have ran in a straight line, but I made a mistake, and now I died. So, because I died, now
that is not your mistake. The fact that the fact that the enemies reached you and attacked you once and you died is not your mistake, dude.
I'll show you the situation I am put in. This is a great example. So, here we are. Let me walk back over here and show you. So, now if I would like to try again and learn the experience of figuring this out, I need to go farm 798 powder, and I have 2 sigils.
By the way, it makes completely no sense. The fact that you need to even use this. Because again, if this is not even meant to be doable by people, why gatekeep people from trying?
To start. This is, you could argue that, okay, DM, it's a skill issue. Sure. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm not going to argue that. Maybe I fucking suck.
You did misplay, like, hard in a couple of places, and you kind of deserve to be yeeted there. But, man, an opponent teleporting on you while you actually are playing a barbarian and you have a lot of defensive stuff on you, like, come on, that's just poorly designed game philosophy. Even if I don't even know if Diablo 4 has game philosophy, honestly.
And maybe that's just the conclusion we come to. Okay, maybe tons of people were able to blast through this, no problem. But it's not really about me at this point. I would assume that I'm not the only one that has ran into this situation. A lot of people that I see come by the live stream, etc., they just get to the level 15 glyphs because they don't want to do the Nightmare Dungeons to 21. And then when the bug happened and they dropped to 14, people are like, I hate Nightmare Dungeons so much, I'm not even going to re-level the one run it takes me to go 14 to 15 just because I don't want to do it. I'll wait a couple days just so my...
True, yeah. Nightmare Dungeons are horrible. They're really boring. Getting glyph level ups actually feels pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. Even if the glyphs don't do anything, if you don't even use the glyphs, honestly. It kind of feels good. But man, just running the dungeons, it's like, oh, it's so sad and tiresome. I mean, why do I need to wait 5 seconds until the villager's saved? Why? I hate it so much. Like, there's so many... Just... Please. Why can't the dungeons be like an almost straight line and then you just need to get to the boss or something? Why does it need to be... Why does it need to be a struggle snuggle every single time? I can imagine so many ways you can just make a dungeon into a straight line up to the boss. And it's so much better than what we currently have. I can just imagine so many ways. And you could have... There's a cute bird outside. You could... Oh, he's doing cute bird things. Anyway, what was I even talking about? Oh yeah, you can make so many good things in a straight line. You can make the dungeon transition to a cave. You can have a giant gate that you need to break down while hordes of enemies are spawning around you. You can have ambushes. You can have this and that. You can have mini bosses. There's so much good you can do in a line. Because you need to understand, the only reason Diablo 4 devs didn't make dungeons into a straight line is because straight lines are bad and boring. Now, everything you're doing is bad and boring. Straight lines are awesome. You just make them good.
Glyphs are leveled and I can try it. Which, if that is the case, and people are thinking that, then there's sure as hell is no way that if people run out of powder, they're going to go farm 800 power to do a tier 1 and then hopefully beat that so they can make a tier 2, beat that so they can make a tier 3, and basically have flawless runs all the way up. It ain't going to happen. People are going to run out of powder and then people just ain't going to do it no more. So if you want my first impression, it's that bad. It actually seems kind of fun. I actually don't mind it.
But it's bad. As everything in Diablo 4, it's bad at the end of the day.
I think it seems decent. The glyph reward seems okay. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me.
He tried. The average person like me is going to fail at one time. And I'm going to have, oh, I don't have any more powder. Well, I guess I'm just quitting the game. That's going to be what happens if I ever get to that level. I'm going to be like, oh shit, well, I'm going to... I need to do what now to get back in there? That's it, quitting the game. Adios.
To me, that the gear drops are literally worse than the gear it takes to be able to run the thing anyway. So, you know, it's dropping like 900 power gear, not even 925 something. That part's still weird for me. I'll admit it. There's issues that we could talk about alongside.
The Abattoir of Zir dropping gear is an interesting issue, honestly, because the point of Abattoir of Zir is leveling the blood glyph. And that's it. That's literally it. Other than that, the gear shouldn't matter, honestly. It's just leveling the glyph. That is supposed to be the ultimate reward.
Side of it, but for me, like, the one core crux of this issue is people are going to run out of fucking powder, and when they do, they ain't going to go farm it. They're just going to stop playing. They're going to be like, hey, you know what? I'm bored. See you in season 3. And this is only really a bummer because I actually rather like the Abattoir of Zir. Like, I like the glyph reward. The glyph reward's strong. The amount of glyph XP you get, so you can level all these other glyphs if you want to, is actually very high. The fact that when you're going through and fighting them with your character, the only thing you have to do is kill a certain amount of minions.
27% total armor. 5.1% damage reduction. Base, by the way. A low roll, but it is what it is. 20% damage reduction from close enemies. To 36% damage reduction while injured. Basic skills grant damage 20% damage reduction in mid-roll for 3.5 seconds. And he gets one-shotted. You understand how fucking wild that is, right? You understand how absolutely without question wild this is. He has more damage reduction and survivability on this one piece of armor than 99.9% of the rest of the players on their whole character combined. Okay? And again, he gets one-shotted. He's not a bad player.
To spawn the Bloodseeker boss, and then maybe they one-shot you or maybe they don't type of situation. I don't mind the actual gameplay of it. I actually find it rather enjoyable, which is why the powder situation's a little bit of a bummer in my own personal opinion. And even though it might sound like I have a problem with how difficult it is because I'm getting one shot all the time, I actually don't. I like that it is difficult. We need difficult things in Diablo 4. We need it.
I don't like the word difficulty in Diablo 4 and Path of Exile, honestly. Because the difficulty in these games is literally, oh, do you one-shot things or do things one-shot you? I think that's a very, very, very stupid bar for the word difficulty.
In-game. This is something that is aspirational content that I can inspire to actually defeat. Dying to it is not the problem for me. I'm perfectly willing to work on my build to get it stronger. If there's people out there like Rob who are beating this thing with Ubers and all, there's obviously room to grow for me. My issue really comes down to the fact that I am getting disincentivized to actually.
But yeah, honestly, as a late game thing to do, this does make sense. Because if you need to farm Ubers to do this thing, it's like, okay, you farm Ubers to do it. The late game for Diablo 4 may not be perfect, but at least now it definitely 100% exists.
Actually attempt it and to grind it out and to learn how to become better, because what they want me to do is the worst part of the game, which is acquiring powder in order to do it. I think this was the biggest mismatch, in my own personal opinion. I think this would be much more well-received if people could go into it, fail it, try again.
And now, technically, I will say one thing. Technically, all of these issues are very solvable and very solvable fast. But the Diablo 4 devs don't play their own game, so they will never be able to solve these issues. They will hear again all of the player base complaining about one thing, and they're going to be scratching their heads and thinking, I don't understand. Why this bad? Everyone say bad, but me not bad. Me right. Me this good. Why bad? Yeah, and it's going to be a shit show.
I don't understand why we have to recraft.
The irony of Diablo 4 is, by the way, the fact that this game could become really good in such an absolutely monumentally short amount of time. At least decent to a huge amount of players. But the Diablo devs are just stupid, incompetent, and bad. They don't play their own games, so they don't understand that there's a lot of small issues that they can fix and just make it so much more better and enjoyable for people.
The powder, the only thing it seems.
How long has been Diablo 4 out? They still require you to pick up the shard fragments from Hell Tides and all of those things on your own, It's stupid. Like, how do you even keep mechanics like that in the game? How do you not understand that you need to remove it?
Seems like to me is the powder is only there so that people will run out of powder and will have to go do other nightmare dungeons, which again doesn't make sense when we just buffed Glyph XP because we know people don't like doing it. And you get better glyph XP through the Abattoir of Zir. So if you have to go back to do the Nightmare Dungeons, they feel even worse when you're doing the OG Nightmare Dungeons because of how much better the Abattoir of Zir experience is, literally anyway. Which is another thing I actually like about Abattoir of Zir. The glyph experience you get is pretty dang high from Abattoir. So there is a lot of things I actually really like about the update. They're just getting overshadowed by the fact that trying to even do the update, eventually the update itself tells you, well, you can't do it. So in my opinion, probably need to have 925 gear be the reward for this thing, because you probably want 925 gear in order to actually do it. And it's not like it's actually dropping gear while you're killing the minions. It only drops the gear at the...
If it drops 925 gear, then... I get where he's coming from saying that, and it kind of makes sense. But if you do that, then what's the point of Duriel? Not a lot now, is there?
End of the dungeon itself, so giving people 925 as a reward for doing the Abattoir of Zir when it's fairly difficult anyway seems to me to be obvious. I don't understand why it's dropping essentially bad gear, but that's just one side point. The sigils, you should have like a 3 strikes you're out mechanic or something. Like, you tried, okay, you're gonna have to redo it. Now you don't get a new modifier or anything. It's gonna redo the same dungeon, so you can't just fail on purpose in order to get a better modifier or something. No, you got to try it again. They should have a couple attempts at least, so that way you're not constantly running out of powder, because I'm already seeing people say that they're running out of powder fairly consistently.
Oh wait, actually I kind of understand maybe why they are making it that you don't run out of powder and that's necessary. Because the thing that happened in Diablo 3 is gonna just happen if you don't have some kind of currency attached to this thing, right? People are just gonna go in, check the layout, check the mobs, check the affix. If it's bad, they're out and they restart until they find something good. And that would be kind of lame also. But I don't know. I think that's better than the alternative, honestly, though, anyway. So, I don't know. It's bad. It's just, there's so many issues. Like, how does Blizzard fail everything so hard?
And that has been my experience right now.
I mean, my complaint really here is that none of these issues should even be broughtable up, because everyone knows, even without playing, that these things are going to be issues. Except Blizzard for some reason. Again, fire all of their developers and hire someone who is forced to play the game at least.
Now I have an hour of powder farming ahead of me to try one more time, and I'm just not going to do that. And before people say you're just asking for it to be easier, you have a hoe the barb, the one-shots everything, but yet you want more in-game content like pick a lane DM, that is completely not what I'm saying. But maybe you didn't make it to this part of the video to actually hear me. What I am saying is that I'm perfectly okay with the difficulty of it. It's acquiring the powder in order to run the attempts specifically that is my issue with this update. If we get that resolved, it is significantly better. I don't need it to be...
Yeah, well, we got you, fam, we got you. Anyway, that was my Dark Playthrough Transactions TV, also known as Skills. Oh man, what a time to be alive. Anyway, this was Cause It's Insane. Thanks for watching, subscribe if you haven't already, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.